Hey, here we go again, man. Yeah, thanks for joining Midlife Thoughts. Today we're gonna talk about are players today in the NBA more skilled than they was back in the day. I'm here to tell you that is a fabrication. That's a straight up lie. Now you hear people saying that all the time, man. JJ Redick and people like that. You hear them saying, they were playing against plumbers and things like that back in the day. Plumbers and firemen. I think that's the term he used. First of all, JJ Redick, they were playing against the best basketball players in the world at the time. There's no way around that. I don't give a damn if they was plumbers and firemen, whoever they was. They had to get jobs back then too, because they weren't making the money that these players are making today. That's first off. Them players' salaries they weren't nowhere near what they is right now, man. That's the first thing. Could they dribble like they dribble today? I'm gonna go back to the 50s when you had Bob Cousy and you had all them guys back in the 50s, in the 60s. You go back and look at the tape. Yeah, man, they dribbling with one hand. Yeah, because they following the rules of the game when it first started. When the game first started, you following the rules of the game, meaning your hands had to be on top of the ball. Therefore, since your hand had to be on top of the ball, there wasn't a lot of crossovers and carrying and all that kind of stuff because they following the rules of the game. If you tried that back then, it's a travel. Yeah. You was carrying the ball if you tried that back then. First of all, not only that, it's just that wasn't around at the time. You only go by what's going on at the time. Nobody had never seen nothing like that before. So how they gonna do it? How would you be able to do a crossover if nobody never did a crossover? That's for one. The game was young back then. I mean, just won a lot of. The game is still being figured out. It hadn't evolved to what it is today. Now I get the part about it wasn't but 8 teams back then. I get that. You can say that. You can use that. But to say, they were playing against firemen and whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they had jobs. They weren't making a lot of money back then, man. And guess what? They played all the games while they had a job. They didn't sit out for load management. They working a regular job and they playing basketball. And nobody load managing. How about that? Since these players today are so much more skilled, how about having a job and going to and still playing basketball and playing all the games without talking about load management? Yeah. But let's just fast forward to the 80s and the 90s, because that's what this all about. When they talking about, players today are more skilled than in the past, they basically talking about the 80s and the 90s, because you got people like JJ Redick and you got people like Shannon Sharpe and all them people that LeBron James paid to say these things. So let's just keep it real. To say things like this, because it gets in people's head and it infects their brain when you say stuff like that, because it sounds good, but it's not true at all. They know you know it. They know you don't know that it's not true. All they know is it sounds good. So that's what I'm going to start saying too. Oh, people back in the day were playing against firemen and oilers. I mean, firemen and doctors and lawyers. They were playing against plumbers. Yeah, that's what he said, plumbers. It's not that they're more skilled, man. The game was just played way differently than what it is now. Let's look at it like this. Okay, well, the big man was the thing that you played through back in the 80s and 90s. You played through the big man. And the reason you played through the big man, man, is because it was so hard to score. It's so hard to score back then. You want to dump it down near the basket to get an easier shot because it was so hard to score. It's so hard to score on the perimeter because you had people up all up in you. It wasn't no space on the court. Everybody was standing around the 3-point line, and all you got to do is you got so much space to just beat your man to get to the basket, or you got so much space to create you a shot. It wasn't like that. It wasn't no space. So you dump the ball down into the big man. Let him bang near the basket so he can get an easy so to be easy on the shot. That's the way it was. Nowadays, the center and everybody else is standing out there by the 3-point line, thus making it easier to do whatever you want to do on the offensive end. Everybody, the court is so spread out. Everybody is standing at the 3-point line, man. You know how easy that is to beat your man off the dribble a little bit and start running toward the basket. That makes the defense collapse, and now everybody's open. It's easy. Just work the ball around the court. It's easy to get a 3-point shot. People didn't practice 3-point shots like they did back then. Now back in the modern right now in the modern game, man, look, you're looking at these offensive players out there, man. Like, man, they traveling on every time they touch the ball. They carrying. I mean, how can you guard that anyway? How can you guard somebody that's taking 4 steps on a step back shot or on a Euro step or something like that? Like, what are they doing, man? Like, why aren't y'all calling this? And then you let the offensive player run into the man that's trying to play defense. You let him run into him, and you call a foul on the defensive player, all because the offensive player ran into him and created a foul. He created a foul. What is that? Like, come on, man. How can you play defense like that? Okay. You got your boy LeBron James putting his left arm out, going to the basket, so the defender can't guard him. He taking his left arm, pushing the man out the way on his way to the basket. Just watch it. He ain't the only one do it, but he the first one I saw do it. They follow him. Put his left arm out because he ain't beating nobody. That just keep it real. LeBron James ain't beating nobody off the dribble. He ain't been doing it. He ain't got no moves. He ain't shaking nobody. Look at LeBron James on his way to the basket. When he taking his left arm and he taking his elbow and pushing this man out the way so you can't guard him on his way to the basket. They never call it. How can you play defense like that? How? Then you got these modern people saying that they didn't play against nobody back then. Oh, I got news for you. Let me tell you right now. This is something I've been wanting to say, man. You see what people are saying about, you see what these players are saying about the players back in the 80s and 90s and stuff, like those players that have no skill, those players, they big and stronger, and these days they couldn't. Look, they're going to be doing the same thing to LeBron James in about 30 years. I guarantee you. In 30 years, they're going to be some young whippersnapper somewhere talking about LeBron James didn't play against nobody. I can guarantee you they're going to do that. They're going to do that, bro. LeBron didn't play against nobody. Look how big he was. He was way bigger than everybody. That's what the young guys do. It's going to happen. He wasn't playing against nobody. Look at all these white guys and Europeans and stuff he was playing against. They don't understand. The thing is, when MJ was playing, when Magic and Bird were playing, when all them people were playing, just like LeBron, you are playing against the best players in the world at the time. You have to measure it on how much better than everybody else that you are. That's how you have to measure it. Like if you want to look at between MJ and LeBron. You got these modern day players want to try to diminish what MJ did, talking about he didn't play against nobody. Guess what? He was playing against the best players in the world at the time. And he was just way better than everybody else. That's just what it is. He was just way better than everybody else at the time for the skills that was around at the time. The game done evolved. You got LeBron James right now as supposed to be the guy. Guess what? He ain't way better than everybody else. Like MJ was just way better than everybody else. He's not way better than everybody else. He ain't way better than Luka. He wasn't way better than Kevin Durant at his peak. He wasn't way better than Steph. No. He was way better at playing politics in the game. He was way better at getting his people out there to say that he's way better. No, man. Yeah, these players today, they're not more skilled than the guys back in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, man. It's just not true. They just ain't calling that crap that they doing now. They ain't calling the traveling. They ain't calling the carrying. They ain't calling none of that. All this stuff they getting away with, they just getting away with a whole bunch of stuff because the NBA is trying to let offense be the number one thing. They're trying to sell tickets by offense. Nah, man. Mean to tell me you think these players today had more skill than Hakeem Olajuwon? Have you seen Hakeem Olajuwon? Somebody got more skill than him? Kevin McHale? Skill? Skill? Isaiah Thomas of the Bad Boy Pistons? Skill? Rod Strickland? Skill? Man, James Harden ain't got no skill. The only skill James Harden got is the ability to travel and get away with it. That's his skill. To create an illusion that he's not traveling when he is. That's what these players today got over the players back in the past. They know how to create illusions that they doing something. It's a trick. They know how to create illusions better today than they used to. It was all about basketball back in the day. About winning. Trying to win something because they weren't making a whole bunch of money. They were trying to win something. Now, today's player feel like they won by the money that they make. That's it. They're just trying to make some money. They ain't out there trying to win no more. They're just trying to make some money. A lot of money. All this money they make, it ain't about basketball no more. It's about money and politics and going out there saying they ain't got no help to make it seem like that's the reason you're losing. You saying you ain't got no help. I'm gonna go get on that other team because if I leave this team right here, it's gonna make it seem like they couldn't do nothing for me. They couldn't build no team. They couldn't build no championship contender around me, even though I got all this talent around me. I'm gonna leave and make it seem like it's their fault. Anyway, man, let me get out here. It's over with, man. I just wanted to get that out of my chest, man. Those players, these players today are not more skilled. They just make a lot more money, and they're out there trying to get a bag. That's it. It's all about individual stuff. All about Instagram. It's all about they brand. Not winning. Because if they want to win these days, instead of going and putting in the work and all that, they want to go jump on a super team or something like that so they can say, I won a ring. I'm winning. That ain't winning. You particular are not a winner if you got to do that. That don't mean you a winner. That mean y'all won. Because it was so much talent. Anyway, man. All right, I'm gone.